Hi, this is Phil for HeadsUpSandGo.com. I'm going to make a free hand history review today, depending on how long it takes and how many hands I'm getting, because I'm still waiting on some hand histories from some guys. It's going to be, I think, a 3 or 4 part series, but yeah, we are going to regard the start with the first part today. Okay, let's go right into it. We have Queen 7 in the small blind here. Standard preflop raise. Yeah, here when we get a pot-sized donk on the flop, I think Readless, your best choice is just to fold and give up here. Because reason for that is there are not many turn cards I see where he will shut down on the turn after he pot-sized donk the flop here. If you have kind of a read that he's doing that with draws and also with air also, you can decide to call down here. Raising obviously makes no sense on that flop. But if you decide to call the flop here, you basically you have to call down any turn at river that doesn't complete the draw. So any club, a 4, a 9, or maybe even a 6. Yeah, if those cards don't fall on the turn at river, you have to call down if you call the flop here. But I think, as I said, Readless, I think your best choice is just to fold here. Let's see what hero does. He folds, and that's good. Next hand we have Ace Queen in the small blind. Standard pre-flop raise. Standard c-bet. Yeah, I like the smaller sizing with the c-bet here because there are really not that many hands we are betting against. Yeah, basically weaker queen, some king and ace high, and that's about it. So, and we get a call. I think on the turn you can even debate betting a bit smaller again, but yeah, I think 8 is also fine since there are now some straight draws and also flush draws out there, and the queen is calling a bet again. That's basically the only hands we're betting against. Yeah, I like the idea to bet fold. I hope that's the intention of that bet. We are only looking to get value from Queen X. So we are beating all Queen X besides Queen 10, obviously. So I would prefer to bet 120 here and then fold to a raise. Because then maybe you get also some calls from a random river 10. But it's basically against Queen X, and so I think 120 is the sizing I would prefer here. And yeah, now we have to fold. Okay, next hand we got Jack 9 suited in the big blind. Call pre-flop, check. Yeah, flop goes check, check. Here on the turn, I would lead with like, I think 60 is a pretty good size. That keeps Villain more honest in what he's doing. So if you bet small, if you bet 40 or 35 or kind of that amount, he might spaz over it with his air, and you can't really do much with your second pair out of position. So I would do like 60 or 50, between 55 and 65, because then if you get raised, then you can happily fold. Against that sizing, I don't see opponents taking that line with air that much. So in that case, yeah, I would prefer a lead of 55 to 65. Hero decides 45, we get raised, and yeah, obviously we have to fold. But I think you can make your life easier with a bigger bet sizing here. Then Villain is not too likely to spaz over you with his air. Yeah, but after that, well played. Next hand, Ace 8 in the small blind. We got min 3-bet here. Yeah, from the start I'm getting this hand in pre-flop no matter what sizing he takes. If it's 60, 80, 100, 120, I'm just 4-bet shoving Ace 8. But Ace 8 is pretty much the borderline hand for me. It's the weakest one I'm doing. Readless, I'm normally doing Ace 8 offsuit and Ace 7 suited. I'm not feeling too great about it, but there's still enough weaker ace X, maybe the occasional king queen, king jack, and also parts of his like what the fuck range with king 4 offsuit or queen 7 suited and stuff like that. So I think getting it in here is fine. I never feel too good about it, but shoving is okay. But that's the weakest offsuit ace I would do it with. Next hand, 7-8 offsuit. You can also debate about limping pre-flop, but that's not really the point of the hand here. Kind of an interesting turn. It's pretty bad turn for our hand, or not for our hand, but for villain's range here. I think we do better off checking that turn for the reason that a lot of floats opponent does on the flop. The 10 improves his hand. Every jack 10, queen 10, queen jack type of hand now has pair, and there are also a lot more gut shots on the turn now. So I don't think we get any hand to fold on the turn that caught us on the flop. Yeah, 4 maybe, but that's about it. And also we turned a weak open-ended straight draw. I would prefer a check back. You can argue for making a bet here since we have no showdown value. But yeah, as I said, I don't think we have any real fold equity on the turn here. So hero decides to bet. We get a call. Yeah, now I think once we bet the turn, we have to ship that river. And if we plan to do that, we should size the turn a bit different. Let's see, what's the sizing here? Hero did 80, so I would prefer 90 or 95. That we don't have to overbet ship the river, because now we have 335 left and have to overbet in the 320 pot. Yeah, but back to the hand. I think shipping is good here because most 9s should fold now. There are a lot of 9s he picked up, maybe a gut shot on the turn with queen 9, jack 9. Those I think are folding to a 3-barrel now. And also all flush draws he had on the flop. So yeah, as played, once we bet that turn, I think betting the river is mandatory. So we bet, and villain folds. Nice. Next hand. We are in the big blind, and yeah, queen 9 with min raises. Check call the flop, check the turn, check call the turn, and villain overbet shoves the river. Normally I fold here, but with the flush draw on the flop and also lots of Broadway gut shots, I think in this exact spot I'm calling. There are still enough draws that missed on the flop. If the flop is rainbow, I think I can find easily a fold here. But all jack 10, queen jack, queen 10, all flush draws are overbet shoving the river here. So I think, and we also have a good 9. I think jack 9 would be the weakest 9 I would calling in that spot. So yeah, in this exact spot I'm calling. If the flop is rainbow or less connected, I'm definitely folding. So see what hero does. He folds now. Yeah, don't think it's that much of a mistake at all, but I think here can happily fold. Here we have a hand history from the merged network. So those are hypers with 1.5k starting stacks, if I'm not mistaken. So 60 is big blind. So we are about 20 big blinds effective now. Heroes in a small blind with queen 6 and min raises. We see bet the ace king flop. Yeah, I was about to say the 10 is like one of the worst cards we can get here. But on ace, king, x flops, I'm normally against random players. I'm taking one shot and then I'm gone because I don't think you get too many folds on later streets on dead boards. And especially with the 10 because every gut shot has at least a pair now, which has before. So every queen jack, queen 10, king jack, king 10. Ace and the king are obviously not folding, and all other hands he called on the flop improved now by the 10. Maybe an 8 with no connectivity to that board we get to fold, but I'm just shutting down here and check. Yeah, good check on the turn. And also river again, same story. Yeah, still maybe 8-5 is folding, but that's about the only hand. And we still have queen high, so we have kind of weak showdown value, so I'm just check down here. And yeah, I don't really see what hands are folding here, but yeah, maybe villain had an 8, so the play got successful, but I don't really like it. I'm just checking down here. Okay, that was it for the first part. Then I hope see you all in the second part. Bye.